Alright, so now we're in the car. We're actually on the passenger side. And we're going to be doing pretty much all of our connections here at the body control module, which is that right there with those plugs. So the first thing I'm going to do is try to figure out a spot where my main control unit's going to sit, which is this guy here. So it looks like I can sneak it back that way. And you can see there's plenty of room back under there. So I'll be able to sneak it past this stuff and hide it back there. So that's where we're going to stick it right now. I'm going to set it back there while I'm doing my connections. That way I don't have too much. I make sure it's going to be able to tuck in. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to push it back there to get it roughly into place, and then I'll start doing some of my connections. Alright, so I got it pretty decently tucked back there. So you can see I got it tucked there. Got the wires running back there. I'm going to start curving back right there. That way the cover still goes on. It'll be easy to pull that out if I need to troubleshoot anything. So I think we're good. So I'm going to go ahead and start with some of my connections. I'll probably have to cut back some of the tape on some of these plugs, and then I'll go ahead and get started. Alright, the first connection I went ahead and did was the 12-volt connection, and that is on the blue plug here, the one all the way to the right, top right. I did it down further here so it was easier to tap, but I just tapped in there, soldered it in. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the SWC wire because it's also on that plug, and that's going to be the little orange one off of my FLCAN. It's going to tap into this green guy here, which is the bottom left corner one, which you can kind of see down there. I followed it, and then it's this guy right here. So I'm going to go ahead and tap that one in now. I'm doing them plug by plug just because it's easier when they're all in one area. Alright, so I went ahead and soldered the SWC wire, and then the next one I'm going to do is can high and can low. Can low is the white one, can high is the blue one. They're in that same blue plug, they're twisted together, really easy to spot. And then I'm going to do the brown and yellow is going to be our can low, and the brown and red is going to be our can high. So I'm going to go ahead and solder those in, and then I'll move on to the next. Alright, so I got my can high and can low tapped in. So now I'm done with the blue, or that greenish plug there. Or no, it's actually blue. Yeah, it's blue. I'm done with that blue plug there, so I'm going to move on to the next one, and I'll show you all the connections. Alright, so the next wire is the pass lock wire, which is on the next plug over, the green one here. And it's down on the bottom left, one up one. So the bottom left up one, and it's white with a purple stripe, and it's right here. And we're going to be connecting our yellow wire from the FLCAN to that. So I'm going to go ahead and solder that in, and then I'll show you the next one. Okay, so I did that connection there. And now I'm going to do ignition and accessory, and they're purple black and purple yellow respectively, and they're on that green plug top right, but there are two purple yellows, and you're going to want the purple yellow that's 3 pins over from the top right, and then the purple black is the one right next to it. So don't screw that up because it probably won't work. So same colors, kind of sucks when they do that, but make sure you follow them and then get them where they need to be. So I'm going to go ahead and tap those in here, and then I'll show you which one went where. Alright, so I got those hooked up. I got the ignition to purple black, the pink one, and the accessory to purple yellow, and that's the orange one there. So now I'm going to move on to the mobilizer one. That's one that we have to cut, which I hate having to cut wires, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, so our next one is the mobilizer data, which is the same green plug. It's going to be a green slash purple on this car, but it could be a green slash yellow. And it's all the way to the left on the top left, second pin over. And I followed it, and it comes to right here. So this one is the one we're going to have to cut. We're going to cut it, put 2 wires to one side, 2 wires to another side. So I'll cut it, connect them, and I'll show you. Alright, so I went ahead and cut that wire, and then connected what needed to be connected. So on the car side is the white black, and on the connector side or body control module side is the white red and green red. I just tied them together, clipped it, wrapped them together, and then soldered them together. So that's, I think, it for that plug. So now the only things really we have left to do as far as wires are parking lights, horn for programming, and ground. So 3 more wires to connect and then run our antenna. So I'm going to go ahead and get to the next part. Alright, next wire we're doing is the parking lights. It's a negative parking light, so we're going to make sure we change the control module over to negative parking lights. And it's going to be the white plug, the bottom left second pin over, and it's going to be a green with a gray stripe. You can barely see the gray stripe, but it's there. So I'm going to go ahead and connect the white wire to that, and then move on. Alright, and then the horn wire is going to be in the fifth plug over, the brown plug. It's going to be, on my car, it's brown and white, but it could be a green and white according to the instructions, or the diagram. And there's two brown and whites. First one I tested was not it. So what you do to test it is you put your negative lead, you set your multimeter to DC voltage, negative lead to the wire, and then your positive lead to 12 volts, and then press the horn, and then you'll read 12 volts on the thing. Same basic way to test anything, really, or, I mean, same concept, but see. So that is our wire, so I'm going to connect the brown wire to that. Okay, so I went ahead and hooked up the horn, hooked up the ground. I just grounded it right there to that bolt. That bracket goes right down to the chassis, as you can see, so we're good there. I got my antenna run. It's just kind of flopping there right now, but it's going to end up going right over there. I just tucked the wire right here through there, tucked it in here with a panel tool, and then this I pulled it down, and I was able to easily tuck the wire there, put it down through there, and then up underneath the plastic panel there, I just tucked it up there, and then right down there. So I'm going to go ahead now and program the Flashlogic module. It's a two-part programming, so the first part I do here, and then I go to the car or to the computer and and flash it again, and then do the second part. So you probably won't be able to do this at home unless you've got the Flashlogic tools. Otherwise, you can get this stuff done at like an audio shop or a remote start shop too. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and select the installation mode. Actually, I already did it. So when it's flashing once, it's in data mode. Flashing twice, it's in hardwire mode. And I did hardwire mode, so it's flashing twice. Then go ahead and hold the button, and it's going to turn solid green once it registers. Alright, so we're good there. Alright, so now I'm going to attempt to take you to the programming. So I'm going to put the key in, turn it to the on position. It's flashing rapidly. Turning it off, removing the key, should turn red. Okay. Then put the key in, turn it on. Then the LED should turn off. Then turn the key to the off position, remove it. Put the key in the ignition, on position, it should turn on green for 2 seconds. Turn the key off, and that should be programmed. So now, I'm going to go ahead and plug in the antenna and test this out. Alright, I just tested it out real quick, because I'm in my garage and I don't want to die, and I also don't want to open the door because it's really cold out, so I only let it run for a couple seconds, but it fired up. Then when I pressed the button once more, it unlocked the doors, so it's looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and tie this up here, get it in there, clean up the wiring a little bit, and then I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Really, barely will be able to tell it's there. Alright, so here's what we're looking like with it all zip tied up together. I could have done it all in black, so you just have a nice black look to it, but I don't care that much. It's not an alarm system or anything like that. It's my own personal car. Yeah, some guys wrap every single wire in electrical tape up until there. I used to do that. There's really no need to it, and I found it always makes things harder to troubleshoot if you ever have to. Ideally, I won't ever have to troubleshoot this because I put it in right. So, there you go. Okay, so one thing I forgot to show is how to learn the tack. So basically you just start it, hold the programming button, and you'll see the parking lights flash. So, go ahead, turn it on. There you go, the lights flashed. Usually you hear a click on some cars, this one you didn't. The parking light just went ahead and turned on. So we're good. Alright, so here's what you actually end up seeing. I've got the programming button just kind of flopped here. I'm not going to hardwire mount, or not going to mount it, drill a hole or anything like that. I'm just going to leave it there. That panel's easy enough to take off if I have to program it, which I will actually have to program longer runtime. Okay, so now we're all finished up, and overall this is a pretty easy car to do actually. A little annoying working there in the body control module, but if you've done remote starts before, there's much harder ones out there to do. So I just figured I'd make a quick video going over the steps on this. If you have any questions, comments, etc., let me know in the comment section, and I'll be happy to help where I can. So now I just gotta clean up my mess of cut zip tie ends and tape and whatnot, and then go ahead and be done. Alright, thanks for watching.